We're going to take two sniffs in the nose and one sigh out.
Okay.
Let's begin. Take a deep breath in and then relax. Okay. Do you remember your first memory?
Actually, this is anecdotal because I kind of, I bring this up sometimes in some of my classes, especially if we're bringing up the past, we're trying to talk about the past, and I talk about an experience that 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 I have, and I don't know if it's my first memory because I even have like some flashes, or like, to be honest with you, I have flashes like like coming out, being born, but I'm quite sure that I kind of like this one of those things that, I kind of like imagine or picture, but one of my first memories that I can actually think about is when I bit a dog, you know,
Mhm.
and I guess you could say that's, that's when I got my wild man moniker, I got the wild man nickname based off of, that time when I bit the dog, so yeah, I'll say that was probably the first memory that I had. The first
So I
true
was
memory that I had was that.
now I was there
Was
that
that
day. So what do you remember? Do you remember biting the dog or no?
exactly? You know what? And I think that's part of the ideal of forced memory, is the fact that I don't remember. To be honest with you, and I've tried to analyze that day because, like I said, it's not my first memory, but it's one of the first more, let's say, potent, um, resounding memories that I've had. And I actually have zero recollection of it. But you told me about it. Mom and Dad told me about it. Dad even made a song, you know, and that's when he gave me, he's like, okay, you were always a bit on the active side, right, Joe? But now you're the wild man, you know what I'm saying? And that's when, I guess you would say, it kind of conditioned me, I've always been, no, I've always been active and hyperactive person, but that might have been irregardless, or regardless to the fact of biting the dog or not, but and having that that nickname placed on me. But I can't lie and say that the fact that I even kind of, I'm not gonna lie and say that I'm really proud of it, but I kind of do wear it on my chest that like, yeah, I bit a dog, son. You ain't scared of no dogs. I ain't scared of dogs. I bit a dog. You know what I'm saying? Dog was barking at
Mhm.
me, and I bit that dog. You know. So yeah, that's one of my first memories. What about you? What was one of your first memories that you have?
That's pretty hard. This member is definitely very fuzzy, but I think it's something
Uh,
some around 3 or 4 years old. It's being in our
okay.
my in Dad's Corvette in that little back because it was a two seater.
Okay.
So just
Okay. Okay.
being
Yeah.
back. So
Like
and
kind of like
once again,
crushed in there.
yeah. I think the
Yeah.
truth of human memory is definitely not reliable. Like a lot of,
Exactly.
and this has been proven actually in court when people
Yes.
try to like recount events for a crime or a situation that's important for the case or whatnot. But
Exactly.
there's a couple factors that go into memory. One is like the time from when the actual
Uh-huh.
event happened. The farther away, the farther away from it, you're gonna memorize. You're gonna remember the details less vividly and less accurately.
Exactly.
But also, you
Exactly.
got like you said, like other biases that come into play. Like, yeah, the
Exactly.
biasness of being cool. Like, oh, I'm a cool dude because I bit a dog. So like
Yeah.
you're always gonna. I think it's human nature to generally try to memorize things that's favorable for them. It's like you
Uh-huh.
remember, like, oh, I remember that time when I scored like 38 points on like three dudes and
Yeah,
dunking on
exactly,
them and stuff
exactly,
like that.
exactly.
Because like I remember that time when I bit a dog. But that's always a factor. And another factor is like the societal biases or invite other people saying like, oh, I remember the time when you bit that dog. Oh, I remember the time when you bit the dog. And you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I bit that dog because
Yeah,
other people,
exactly.
other members of the society is imposing their memory on you. So
Exactly, exactly.
yeah.
No, no. So yeah, so all right, because like I told you before, like you even you verified, um, before I go into the how can I say, the neurological or the psychological point of view, I think that, yeah, so many of our memories are, I don't want to say forced on us, but they're kind of impeded onto us. Like I said, I have zero recollection of the dog. I don't remember exactly where we were. I know
Mhm.
the only thing I can kind of remember that I haven't been able to discern from what I really remember, what I don't remember, and what was been placed on me by you, by mom, by dad, and all of the other witnesses, is the fact that um, I'm gonna say that there was grass. I was outside. That's the only thing I remember, but I don't even remember that really. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that have been unable to shake from my mind. And it's been said to me, it's been repeated to me so many times that I can even close my eyes and remember like dog fur being stuck between my teeth. But that's just something that you kind of like set upon yourself, and actually, so I think that that kind of conditions you the way moving forward, how you
Yes, yes.
do things, right? And so my question for you is then, because memories, especially when we talk about memories, for example, in the trials, in court cases, a lot of times witnesses testimony can be thrown out because they might find kinks or flaws in their memory. Um, so why do we have these memories? Do you think, apart from the normal survival tactic that we have? That, okay, I see that big feline over there, so that feline must be something that's predatory
Mhm.
because it ate my mom. Saying big saber tooth tiger, or or lion. But apart from that, like memories and like experiences that we've had, which are, I kind of say, not essential or nor detrimental. How do you
Mm.
think that, or why do you think we have memories if it's not on or for any other reason that's not for survival?
Well, first of all, and I've done my research on this, that memory is really good in the short term, like I said, and for learning like big for generalization. So it's good to you for you to generally know that like lions are will attack you and eat you. So that's so
Exactly.
like you don't have to keep on messing with lions anymore. And so you
Yeah.
don't have to keep on reinventing the wheel for certain things over and over again. So
Exactly.
you can
Exactly.
progress in the learning process a lot faster, or not even the
Yeah.
learning process, but increase and go faster in any process is faster because of the fact that you already have a baseline of knowledge. But I
Exactly.
think when you're trying to learn big, intricate details a long time ago,
Uh-huh.
where our mind is not made for it, and a lot of it has a lot of emotional biases, a lot of confirmation biases, a lot of societal biases. But I think they can be used for other things, and like you said, conditioning. And I think that's why you look at certain people from certain communities are successful and certain people from other communities are not successful because of the conditioning of what they've been told when they were young. Like, you know what, you're
Yeah.
dumb, you can't do nothing, blah 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 blah. All you can do is play basketball or play football,
Yeah.
and then or some other people they're telling their kids like you can do anything you want to, little Jimmy, just put your mind to it and do it, blase split, so I think belief is very powerful. I think that's really the secret ingredient to all spirituality and religion, or mostly religion, is
Uh-huh.
belief. That's what makes that's what makes the magic happen. Everything else is
Okay.
kind of like a story, and that's
Okay.
based on a folk tale, which is nothing but
Okay.
fragmented memory. So,
Okay.
and that's but yeah, and then also too, and it goes back to that, like before, like we were able to write and stuff like that. that's the way people pass information along, pass information along, especially like know-how and knowledge along, especially when they had like secret societies, you
yeah,
know, and they didn't want to write down information because they want to keep their information secret and
yeah,
sacred.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, in fact, in a
that's
lot of
probably.
yeah, originally in the Chinese era, I'm not mistaken, thinking about 600, 700 years ago, they used to make the moon cakes to pass secret
Yeah.
messages around, and they would have 3 or 4 different moon cakes, and um, you have to go together with like all these other lieutenants to put the message together, and then you eat the message after you finish because, bro, okay, nobody else find out about this. You know what I'm saying? You had to eat it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but no, but all right, because what I wanted to get to is if we think of one of the godfathers of psychology, I told you that's my sector, and we have Jean William Fritz Piaget, who was a Swiss or Austrian, Swiss. He's a Swiss psychologist, particularly in behavioral comportment and um, with children, especially. And the thing was with his situation was this: he was a year old. And there were some criminals who tried to kidnap him, but his
Mm.
nanny fought them off. Okay, he's about 1 or 2 years old, and when he was about 14 years old, they received his mom and dad received a letter, with. Sorry about that. Let me backtrack just a bit. And because of her bravery, um, his parents gifted her a nice expensive watch. I'm not sure if it was a Rolex or Audemars Piguet. I'm not sure. It was like 150 years, 130 years ago. So we're talking about the end of the 19th century, 18th century. Um, and so when he was about 14 years old, 15 years old, they got a letter with that same watch inside saying, I can't take this. The story that I told you about, Jean being potentially kidnapped when he was very small was a lie. I said it because, I wanted you to keep me on as a nanny. And, but now that I'm old, I want my absolution. I want, so I want to redeem myself. So I can't accept this watch. I can't die. I'm on my deathbed. I can't die knowing that, I lied to you, because this family, you treated me so well. So think about this. So from 1 or 2 years old, being told how important she is, how she saved his life, you know, we have really conditioned him to really looking at the psyche of how memories can help him, because that moves you forward, that pushes you forward, and at the same time, it might have been the reason why he decided to focus his research on the psychology of children. It may have also been a reason why, or it might have been a reason that happening or not happening, and if he had not remembered, might have been a reason for him not to go into that sector. And he's like a very, very important figure. So, we even think about, like you said before, based off our social conditions, social, economical, and even racial and ethnical and our beliefs, or conditions or classes, we can also be conditioned. You're not going to be good at anything. How many times did Malcolm X, based off of millions of accounts, you're not going to be anything because you're black, you're African American, blah 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 blah, and it's because of the white man, blah 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 blah, until he went to Mecca. And he said that was his moment of clarity, of epiphany, when he said, you know what, I'm fighting, and we should all fight for something, but I'm fighting based off of a false pretense that that
Mm.
was forced onto me for so long that it became part of me. Do you understand? So
Mm.
would I be the same wild man had I not been told that story so many times? Lots of mentalists say things to
Mm.
you to make you think that they are really
Mm.
good. They might tell you 20 pieces of information, and 19 of them are false, or 18 of them are false, but they say throughout the session, Richard, you're gonna come across some money soon. Richard, you're gonna come
Mm.
across some money soon. Present it to you different ways. Even write it down on a piece of paper, touch you on the shoulder, make contact while they're saying it.
Mm.
And then even if you come across like a 25-cent quarter on the ground, you're like, whoa, that mentalist was on point. But that's because you would have seen that anyway. You probably would have disregarded it, but because your mind was conditioned, that inception of coming across money was, it was set in your head. And I wonder how many people and how much of humanity uh, like I said before, is we are where we are based off of like I said before, non crucial memories. Like we said before, how to survive a tiger attack. These are things that that promote our survival. As a species. But me being biting a dog, how essential is that to my life? You know what I'm saying? But it can condition me to developing particular behaviors, especially if I'm a person who's very malleable and maybe easily swayed towards one thing or
Mhm.
another. So, what do you think? How much, even though, like we said before, our memories are fallible, but how important are they to us apart from the essential memories? What do you think?
The more and more I go into like meditation and all this stuff, I think sometimes memory can be kind of a hindrance because it actually takes us away from the present moment, and then that
Uh,
and that's what keeps us trapped in like regret and also anxiousness because we're dreading the future or worried about the future so much instead of
okay,
just really learning how to be present and being in the moment. But that's our mind. I think real self-mastery comes from being able to use our mind as a tool versus becoming a tool of our minds. And a lot of people are
okay,
tools
okay.
of their minds. They're like a rabbit running on a treadmill, running loose, or a
Exactly.
hamster, or a hamster on a hamster wheel running loose and just going in place. But I think memory is very important because I think everything, our hope, the way we perceive the world, you can't start all over from ground
Okay,
zero over and over again. So even though
okay,
you may think of certain memories as insignificant, but just the process and the mechanics of your brain being able to recall information and being able to build upon that is like Legos. It builds to
okay.
something. It builds to something bigger. If not, we're going to be stuck in like the second or third grade forever, or fourth grade, just learn how do I tie my shoes. I know that like you're not talking about those type of functions, but I don't think there's any difference between those functions and very
Okay.
insignificant, or those memories
Okay.
and very insignificant memories, such as you biting the dog. I think they're all
Uh,
kind of like the same thing. And I'm not a
yeah.
neuroscientist, so I don't want to say that. And I haven't done my research on that. So, but that's just my perception. But I do think overall humans are almost exactly alike. We're like 99.9999%. Even chimpanzees to humans are like 98.88% alike
Yeah.
genetically. I just think the
There's a high
difference
percentage. Yeah.
the difference is just the way we perceive the world, and through like what's been turned on, what's been turned off based on memories, based on
Okay.
conditioning. And
Okay.
so the way some people see the world as a pessimist, and they never have any money. Some people see the world as an optimist, and they tend to be the ones that always have money. And sometimes a mentalist or an NLP person can plant
Uh,
those seeds in those certain people to become very successful and whatnot. So I think
yeah. Yeah.
it's definitely a very interesting thing. But I'm a big believer in the mindset. It's all
Okay.
about mindset alchemy to be able to achieve
Okay.
what you want. And then I think the truest essence of mindset, the truest aim of mindset alchemy, is just really being present. That's like what all spiritual teachers talk about. It's like if you're a true alchemist, you're not
Uh,
you don't try to turn lead into gold. You see the
yeah.
beauty
Yeah.
in lead
Exactly. Exactly.
just the same you
Exactly.
see the beauty in gold. You don't try to live
Exactly.
forever. You see the eternity
Exactly.
in this present moment. So
Perfect. Perfect.
that's. But yeah, I know that's off on a tangent a little bit, but that's I think memories do serve a very functional purpose for us. And I don't know if
Yeah.
you can just distinguish the two between like a quote unquote insignificant memory and a very vital memory. But I think
Uh
they
huh.
all kind of work together to help develop our mind like Legos.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
So,
Well, like I just think that memories are. I just think in, since we're speaking about um a spiritual point of view, I wanted to kind of go to thinking about one of the main things about spirituality, or if it's being religious, is like you said before, your credits, your beliefs. And one of the things I really believe in, and I believe in time,
mm,
but I'm gonna pilfer and snatch away and steal one of Einstein's quotes when he said that we misinterpret. time, or our definition of time is wrong. I think that's what he said. He said the only reason for the word time is so that everything doesn't happen at the same time, right? Or everything doesn't happen at once. So if we're going to a time convergence ideal, I think that personally, and I think this is what says who we are as people from a philosophical point of view. I think that both future passes and presents happen simultaneously, and that doesn't mean that you're not being mindful. I just think being mindful is being able to accept what your trajectory is and what was your experiences. But I think that it all happens because in the end, tomorrow you say, okay, I got this appointment, I got this appointment, I got this appointment, okay, and you know what you have. You have those pillars. You have those columns set in place, and as time, so-called time progresses, we fill those in with those specific that specific information. Same thing with, like I said before, it's possible that I really bit the dog. And because of that, what do I do? Because it's fuzzy. I have pieces. I might even have, for example, my case is different because I don't remember anything. But let's think about a memory from when I was 10 years old, 12 years old, where I have some pieces, and everything else I say, okay, well, that's how I was as a person. So that sounds logical. That seems logical. I was probably wearing this. I was probably wearing that because I always did that. You know what I'm saying? After school, I did that. Used to do that. I used to do that at that particular time. So we kind of like, from that memory, it's kind of like, you take a photograph and they say, okay, we're gonna give you two elements of this photograph. The rest you have to fill in on your own. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the future is the same thing. And I think the reason why is because I think that as a species, from a conscious point of view, I think that we're just backward minded. We're always in the retrospect. So I think that's why we have more of a propensity to see more in the past. You know what I'm saying? And I think that more people worry about their past. Well, there are a lot of people who worry about their futures also, trust me. But I think more people are more worried about their past. And actually, I think that the past worries people more, even going into the future, transitioning through the present, than the other way around. But I think that, that a lot of these things converge on themselves. I think that like you said before, that perceived presence, that mindfulness, is being able to accept that whole, how can I say, that whole macrocosm of what we are consciously. Because I really find it difficult that when we say, oh yeah, but the future, you can't really see the future. And why not? It's possible that we do. It's just we have fragments of it. But just like our memories, we only have fragments of it. But we consider the
Yeah.
memories, oh yeah, we lived those. How do you know that you haven't lived, what I'm saying, when things can transcend time? You even mentioned before
Well,
this infinity, what I'm saying? And the
like,
infinity can be also everything, everything and nothing
well,
at the same time.
well, if you take quantum physics, I think all the way out, and I think they're pretty much coming to this conclusion that all time and
Exactly.
space actually exists at this
Yeah.
moment in this place.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
it's just our mind can't grasp that. Our brain, our
We can.
human brain can't grasp that concept. So we create the distinction of space and
Exactly.
time.
Exactly.
Kind of
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
what kind of sound like what Einstein said. It's like,
Yeah.
so
But like
we
you said,
just we put these
yeah.
markers there just because we can't understand that everything is actually happening at once.
Yeah. No, but like you said, I think that
Yeah.
what you said was spot on. The fact that even we consider this mindfulness, being present in the moment, because I think that, like I said, the past, the present, the future, this is, I think they all converge personally. But what we perceive, that perception is what's, what I'm saying, what's there. You know what I'm saying? And that perception we can consider, or we can define, even if, again, like I said, it kind of contradicts what I want to say, but we can kind of define this as our present. And the thing is that even though we understand, okay, I'm living in this moment. I'm on this. It's Tuesday evening for me. On Tuesday afternoon for you. I'm in the chat with my brother. Instead of thinking that, a lot of times we might find ourselves still reminiscing about the past, thinking about, saying other things, when that moment is that moment, saying, and
Mhm.
not that this moment is this moment, because all moments are all, but this is the moment that my mind, my conscious decides to perceive. We should take that as a gift, and
There
I
you
think
go.
that, like you said before, we can also move that into the infinity of eternity, saying, okay, you know what, I believe that everything can happen at once, or I can tap into that future me, or that past me, or that parallel
Mhm.
me. But my mind, my consciousness, in some way is choosing this instant. Why
Mhm.
don't I live this instant? And like you said, I think that that's the way we should do, but we don't, because we know that our mind's choosing this instant to live in or to
Mhm.
perceive in, even if you don't believe in a convergence. But we're still living in other things, other moments. That's
But that's,
not what
I
we
think,
want.
and that's kind of like the general human dilemma. Is like we always want something that we don't have. Like we could be living in
Exactly,
paradise and still be
exactly,
unhappy, and I think
exactly.
that happens a lot. And then, or
Yeah,
you might be, like your whole thing is like, my whole thing was like, oh, I got to get out to LA. It's nice and warm and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then at first it's good, but then after a while, like, oh, I hate LA because you still didn't change the underneath. You didn't change
exactly,
the within, the perspective,
exactly,
the
exactly,
vantage point. So once you
exactly,
start having the vantage point of like appreciating wherever you're at, whatever you're realizing at this moment,
exactly,
appreciating it and accepting it first and appreciating it, I think then you
yeah,
can allow the magic to happen in your life.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
because in the end, we're in that moment because we need, in some
Yeah.
way we need to be in that moment. Like I said, at
You're right.
least according to the way I see things,
Well,
is that because go
Well, it's
ahead, go ahead.
kind of like going back to physics, and all physics is starting to, like, this is like becoming Western science now. It's not just New Age science anymore.
Yeah,
Western
yeah,
science is really starting to come to this thing. What everything is possible. It's like we're in a superposition, and only thing that realizes what you draw your attention to, and
that's your
that become
observation. That's the observation. Yeah,
the observation causes the reality. That's it. That's
yes,
it. It's
exactly,
only the
exactly. So
observation that
there's a
causes
reason.
reality. Because
Exactly,
everything has the potentiality of existing, but it's
exactly,
only the observation, the attention drawn to that one potential. Like, hey, I'm a
exactly,
loser, so I'm just gonna be a loser. That's it. Or like, oh yeah, you
exactly.
know what? Hey, I'm gonna be a billionaire. That's what happens in life. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I'm a
definitely,
friend.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, I agree with you completely, 100%. I might give it different. We might give it different definitions, but I think of it the same way. There's a reason why we are observing, why we are
Mhm.
perceiving this moment. Whatever
Mhm.
moment that is, that it is that you're perceiving, because I think they're all, like you said before, we're always in a superposition, just like Schrodinger's cat. Until we open that box, we're not gonna know if the cat is dead or alive. What I'm saying? Just like we don't know,
Exactly.
we don't know if, like you said, we are going to be that millionaire, or if we are going to be that loser, until we observe that. And when we observe that state, everything starts to come into fruition based off of that. I think,
Mhm.
and that superposition, that not duality, but that infinitality of everything, is where we branch out, in every moment, and I think that's, instead of, we're in that moment and we're trying to spread out our eyes like tentacles. I think we should kind of like try to bring those things in and try to see, okay, what is it going on with me? Why am I living this moment? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Just
I think that's also the problem with human conditioning too, is we focus too much on our mental and our visual
like,
faculties to perceive the world, instead of like
okay,
using more, like, like the animals, they tend to be more in tune with with other senses,
yeah,
and intuition, and then it creates more of like a sixth sense, like a form of intuition, and you kind of
yeah,
naturally gravitate to where you want to go, and that's what the people that are really successful in life in whatever endeavor they are, not only successful like in money, but successful in like internal happiness, they have
yeah,
that inner state of intuition,
yeah,
or guidance system to be
yeah.
able to navigate the reality of life.
No, in fact, like you said, I think when we tap into those same memories, I think that, and people tap into them successfully. I'm not
Mhm.
saying just to make $1 billion or just to become success or be well known, but when we tap into those memories and we tap into them in a particular way, that opens up that third eye. That activates
Mhm.
the pineal gland. That activates us being able to not necessarily see outwards, but see ourselves, see our introspect from an outrospective point of view, from an external point of view, because a lot of
Becoming an
times,
observer.
exactly, because a lot of times what happens is we get caught up, like, let's say this, you are a house, every man is a temple, most religions, most belief systems have something similar, a phrase like this, but if you're in your house or your temple or your castle, and you're all the way on the east wing, for example, and
Mhm.
the kitchen's in on the west wing, and that shit's on fire, you're not going to know if you're always in the house, especially on the other side, until you
Mhm.
take a step back and come out of, saying, where you are, that abode, and you are able to see the bigger picture of what is yourself, and
Yeah,
that's the way I look at it. A lot of times we live in, saying, we live in our houses, we live in our glass, our castles, and that's fine too. But we're always stuck, like you said before, in a state of content, or in a state of, like, I don't know, acceptance, but we accept something that we don't want, that complacency,
yeah.
and that's what happens a lot of times,
You're
because we
you're you're
always
in a
want to.
constant you're in a constant state of mild discomfort and
Exactly,
mild unease. But eventually, that mild unease builds, and then
exactly, exactly.
until you break, or until you have disease, as they call it. Because you
Exactly.
just
Most diseases, based out, or they boil down to stress of something, stress or
the stress of
inflammation of
something,
something. You know what I'm
the
saying?
stress
So, and that's
exactly.
everything. Yeah. So for
Mhm.
our physical, those stressors are the things that, and that bind us, that, or that hinder us. And even like you said before, it kind of like ball and chains us to not necessarily a present, not necessarily a past, not necessarily a future, but to a nothing in the ether,
Mhm.
in an uncontrollable ether, So not an ether where
Yeah.
we're sitting back and we're trying to observe ourselves, but an ether where we have no idea what's going on. It's that self-imposed purgatory that we have, I guess,
It was, yes, it's self-imposed. That's the word,
Yeah,
and it's all based on, like, our memories, these ideals that have been planted in our
exactly,
head for a long
exactly.
time since we're little kids and stuff like that. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even remember you bit the dog too, but I think
Yeah.
it all started from our dad. Because I think, and even he might not even have saw it properly, but I think he wanted so much for you to be a wild man already before it kind of was his, it was kind of his fulfilling prophecy that
Yeah,
happened. And that's what
exactly, exactly.
we all kind of live fulfilling prophecies, self-fulfilling
Yeah,
prophecies in life,
yes,
based on the programming and the memories that we have from the past. So
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
No, no, I definitely, yeah. I think, like you said, yeah, I think that that memory is crazy. Even like, for example, he probably imposed it on us. I mean, like I said, I have no doubt that it probably happened. I'm that type of person, but I don't know if I was that type of person before that, or if I was that type of person because of that. You know what I'm saying? But that's, like I said before, that's one of the realities, or that's the thing that I prefer, or I choose to observe, or choose to perceive. And like I said, again, I don't think that memory per se is one of those memories that helps keep me alive or not. But like you said before, by being so similar from one person to the from one person to the next, 8 billion people strong, those memories, whether they're real, whether they're false, fabricated, whether they're partially real, whether they're different accounts from different people from different perspectives, because like you said before, everyone has their own perspective. It still is that one. I think there's that one element which kind of separates us from, or help us have our individuality. One of the things that I think that would be almost impossible for us to completely download our brains. So in a sense that, it could be another us. I think that, we can probably download our synapses, our thought processes, and things like that. But as far as, how does that memory affect you? I mean, I even have some memories that I remember vividly, but they have zero effect on my life. You know what I'm saying? I have some memories that some people might tell me parts of it, and I said, what? You know what? That might be the reason why I do this. That might be the reason why I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, but, those memories are so strong whilst not being very strong. In linguistics, one of the things I teach is the Hebrew schwa. The schwa is basically the upside down E, which is the pronunciation. For example, it sounds like the O in computer, like it's a almost non-existent sound. In fact, no, I
Mhm.
don't speak Hebrew or anything, but from what I understand, it means insignificant. Schwa, and
Mhm.
it's insignificant, but it has a necessary effect, especially linguistically speaking, right? And I think that these memories also, a lot of the times, the memories, not all of the memories, obviously, like you said before, not to just run out the street without even looking. You know what I'm saying? You've seen films, you've seen videos, you've heard your mother say a million times, "Look both ways." Your dad say, "Look both ways." You see your dog or your cat get run over by a car because they just ran out haphazardly across the street. But for these non-essential memories, I think that, these are things which kind of keep us in tune with our individuality. I think, when it's all said and done. I still think that it has the same effect, or our future premonitions have the same ideal, but because we are not very forward thinking as a species, but we're very present with the tendency to think backwards. I think that that's why memories are so important. Even though sometimes they can be insignificant, they have a huge importance. And I think that's memories are what make us human.